Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the From 3 podcast. I know it's been crazy with trade deadline week. Don't worry, we didn't trade Alex. She's just off this week. So instead of From 3, it's going to be like a long 2 with Logan and me. As always, I'm your host, Matt Morris. We got a great show, and we're going to start out with the alley-oop talking KD trade to the Suns. We're here with Dave King, writer for The Bright Side and SB Nation. Dave, how you doing? It's been a pretty hectic week, I'm guessing, for you.
Yeah, as a guy who's covered the Phoenix Suns 24/7 on the SB Nation blog for the last 12 years, I would say this was the most monumental week that we've had, and that counts anything that happened during the 7 seconds or less area, anything that happened during the the Chris Paul finals run. This is the most monumental transaction week that we've had. Now it's just a matter of, will they do something with it? What can the Suns get done? But acquiring Kevin Durant, a current MVP level player, that may be the best player ever traded at a deadline mid-season.
Easily could be for sure. So you mentioned the KD maneuver, the KD trade. Just how does he fit in with players like Devin Booker, CP3, these guys who are seen as ball-centric guys who need to have the ball to really make an effect on the play?
Yeah, it's a good question, but the great thing about Kevin Durant and also about Devin Booker is they can play on ball, they can play off ball. Devin Booker actually went down to only a top 50 in the league in touches per game the past few years. And Kevin Durant, you might be surprised, is only ranked 43rd in touches per game and time with possession. So those guys can both coexist with just about anybody. They will work perfectly together. Chris Paul will be the orchestrator. He'll handle the ball the most still, I'm sure. But you know what? He's also learned this year to start playing off ball more. He said he'd never done as many catch and shoots, as he puts them, this year, as he has been doing this year with the Suns. They were trying to groom Mikal Bridges into an on-ball role more so. And now they basically leveled up to a top 5 all-time player to do that for them over Mikal Bridges. So I think the fit is going to be seamless. The only question is going to be their health.
Yeah, Dave, it's exciting to look forward to that, and I can't wait till all three are out on the court together. But overall, this is a move to go win a championship. But you also saw this kind of started everything. I mean, Kyrie goes to Dallas, and then KD goes to the Suns, and then every other team in the West basically was like, well, we got to do something. We can't just sit here. So after everything that's happened with the trade deadline and where teams are standing, where do you put the Suns right now in the hierarchy of the Western Conference?
Well, if you look at the betting sites, all the bettors have the Suns as the favorite now in the Western Conference because they added Kevin Durant to a team that was already really good. And you'd probably argue that Denver feels confident about their chances to win the West. You can't ever count out Golden State. Who the heck knows what's going to happen with the Clippers? That's just a weird team. Seems like they should be able to win the West, but they just haven't shown they can even win competitive games against good teams. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but the Suns are the betting favorite now. And I would guess when you've got cold-blooded Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant closing out games, I think the Suns are going to be in pretty good shape all the way through the playoffs.
Yeah, it's hard to beat that. It's hard to beat that right there.
Yeah, a lot of talent, a lot of experience, and in the playoff games, like you mentioned, that's huge. And looking at the Suns, they now have new ownership. Just what is this ownership going to be like? Are we expecting this aggressive style, this aggressive move for the ownership now that they're in play here?
Well, what's interesting is when he had his introductory press conference on Wednesday, you can the back of my head in that group shot there. He was very impressive. Mat Ishbia was very impressive as the new owner. Total ball of energy, constant motion, constant. Like he wasn't one of those diarrhea of the mouth guys, but he talks so fast and so clearly and so well that he gets a lot out. But you leave yourself. I literally left that press conference going, now he's got to prove it. Yep. Well, within 12 hours, he proved it. He proved within 12 hours he made the biggest in-season trade in possibly NBA history in season of that kind of player. And he's proven that he added $30 million to the luxury tax bill by doing it. He is going to go all out for these trades, for acquiring players. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to spend like crazy like Bob Myers, or excuse me, not Bob Myers, but Joe Lacob, the owner of the Warriors, who are paying $350 million in luxury tax to their fellow owners, or Steve Ballmer in LA, because those guys have secondary revenue streams in their regional market, their regional TV deals that make up for that, in merchandise sales and all that make up for that. Like they still make money even when they spend $300 million in luxury tax. The Suns won't be able to do that. They're not quite that big a market. They're certainly their merchandise sales and the regional TV deal is pretty good, but it's not like LA. It's not like California. So I don't expect the Suns, but the Suns are already top 5 in spending this year, total spending, and they'll stay in the top 5. They just probably are not going to be $300 million in luxury tax payments. It's a really nice change of pace considering the Suns are in line with paying about $60 million in luxury tax this year. Robert Sarver's entire 17 years as owner of the Phoenix Suns paid a grand total of $13 million in 17 years in luxury tax. So that's a spending that Suns fans are happy to see. And it looks like obviously he's willing to swing for the fences. They're not always going to work, but at least he's willing to swing, and that's good to see.
Yeah, and it might have been a home run with this acquisition for sure.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to hold them back, I think, is health, right? So if they stay healthy, they might lose at some point in the playoffs. Obviously, any team can lose, but I expect this team to be really dangerous and really, really good, and I can't wait to see them all on the court.
Yeah, and one of my last questions for you, Dave, is obviously you send Mikal Bridges away and some other key role players on the team. What is this team going to look like defensively now? Because Jay Crowder wasn't playing this season. Mikal Bridges is kind of the lead defender. What are the Suns going to do on defense to really take on some of the big scorers that are out in the West in the playoffs?
That's a really good question. The Suns have been pretty good on defense this year. If you take out the month of December when everybody was injured and they were playing 2 ways and 10 days and minimum salary contracts up and down the rotation, they've been really good on defense this year. They've been really good on defense for 3 years. But now we're going to find out how much of that was Mikal Bridges and how much of that was team defensive scheme. I believe that the Suns will still be a top 10 defense, but they might not be a top 3 like they had been. But the offense and the clutch shooting from these guys, again, Durant, Booker, and Paul, should help them overcome that anyway. But I would expect probably one of the best offenses in the league and a top 10 defense, but they won't quite be as good on defense as they were.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's still scary. That's still really scary.
Yeah.
Very scary.
Yeah, they were really good both offense and defense last year going into the playoffs. They led the league in regular season wins, but they were not at the top of their game. They had lost their fire after they got that franchise record win. They started just kind of coasting the rest of the season and never found it again. And then they had injuries. This year with Kevin Durant, I don't think they'll have any kind of lulls, and they certainly need to push to the playoffs. So I expect they'll be playing their best basketball at the playoffs, not losing their edge. So I'm looking forward to that, but we got to see it to believe it. We have to see them actually play really well. But I do think they're a lot more dangerous this year because the reason they lost last couple of years was mostly because teams were able to trap Devin Booker and Chris Paul couldn't make them pay enough by himself because he was either injured or just couldn't do it because he was smaller. Like he got Drew Holiday to stop him in the finals in 2021. No shame in that. Drew Holiday is one of the best defenders in the league.
Also,
and then last year, Chris Paul was a combination of some kind of age and sickness against the Mavericks, and also a lot of tall defenders against him, making it impossible to see over them as the secondary guy with Devin Booker. Now you've got Kevin Durant. He sees over everybody. You trap Booker and you just go, okay, Kevin Durant, kill him. You trap Kevin Durant and you say, okay, Devin Booker, kill him. And Chris Paul is going to be on the backside, weak side, just orchestrating everything away from those traps. So I think the Suns are going to be better in the playoffs now than they were last year. It's just about health.
Absolutely. And it always does come down to health, especially with these great teams. Can't wait to see them in the postseason. Can't wait to see all three of them together. But Dave, thanks so much for coming on. It was great talking Suns basketball with you. And as always, thanks for joining.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Great talking with Dave. Obviously, a huge trade, and absolutely, he's 100% right. This is probably the biggest move in Suns history, the biggest move of the last 2-3 decades since they probably got Barkley, I would say.
Yeah, at least.
Wild, just wild. But now we're going to finish the show by handing out some hardware. Let's do this. Logan, let's hear your hardware. What do you got?
Yeah, so just starting, I like to do the bottom to the top, so I like to go brick first. And I got to go with the two teams that didn't make a trade deadline move. It's going to be the Bulls and the Cavs. I know that there was talk, maybe a big Zach LaVine trade. That would have definitely been an exciting move for the Bulls. Maybe not the smartest, considering that he's their star and things like that. But it could have been a big splash. Yeah, it wouldn't have been exciting for Bulls fans. Shout out Scott. But it would have been a big move, a big splash for them, for sure. The Cavs already kind of did theirs with the Donovan Mitchell trade before the season. But it would have been nice to maybe see them make a bigger push than they are. I know that they're kind of middling in the East, but they really – to be in that top echelon, especially with the Nets stepping back, would have probably been a nice move to have there. Looking at the bank, I mean, you got to go with the KD trade, right? You just wake up and it's like, whoa, the whole landscape changed. And yeah, the Kyrie Irving trade kind of did that at first, but not shocking because it's Irving. He has off the court issues, kind of very controversial. KD's the quiet, like, yeah, he's been moved around a little bit, but like, wow, not expecting that, especially to the Suns. The Suns were not the team that I was putting my eggs in the basket for. So great move by them. The new ownership there that we mentioned in the interview, just kind of crazy start. Definitely makes them a contender out west. And then my dunk, this one's a real fun one. New Jersey City University play-by-play announcer Tim Moore going absolutely berserk on their game-winning three over a top 25 opponent. Just absolutely fun. Love of the game. I mean, you love when broadcasters actually show their emotion. I know we talked about a broadcaster being like, hey, if you want to ref, go do it yourself last time you were on. So it's like, you just love these off-the-cuff moments with broadcasters, especially young guys like that. I know he's recent college grad, so good for him.
I mean, being from Milwaukee, growing up listening to Euchre, one of the greats of all time, the broadcaster can make or break the game. I absolutely love the energy. It gets you excited as a fan. See, Logan, I'm going to go a little different than you. I like my dessert first, so I'm going to go with my slam dunk, and that is the Bucks acquiring Jay Crowder. This is a move that's been talked about for probably 6 months now, since Crowder made it clear that he wanted out of Phoenix. Wasn't able to make it happen until he got moved to Brooklyn as part of the KD trade. But this is huge for a Milwaukee Bucks team that is already, arguably second best, not just in the East, but in the league. Completely there competing with Boston. This is adding a 3-and-D guy that allows Giannis to maybe run the 5. You have another great defender that can guard basically 1 through 5 as well. I love Crowder. Hopefully the Marquette guy, he can get into game shape real quick because he hasn't played yet. But this is a postseason move, and this is a move that's going to help if they have to go into Boston and play a series there. And so my bank now is going to be Gary Payton, basically getting his money, winning a chip, getting his money elsewhere, and then having the team that wouldn't give him the money be like, I'm sorry, you were right. Here, we want you back. Golden State obviously made a mistake. They knew they made a mistake. They need defense. They need a guy like Gary Payton II. And so going out and getting him is definitely a move that hopefully will start getting them back on track, even with Steph out. But way to go, Gary Payton II. Way to get your money. And
you get your cake and eat it too. That's what
exactly. He went and got paid, and he got a chip, and now he's back with a title contender if they're healthy. Finally, my brick is the Wisconsin Badgers men's basketball team losing at home by 2 to Northwestern in a game that was basically a must-win for them. This is one of those easy ones that they can write off that they need as they get closer and closer to March. The Badgers are in no situation to be losing games like this, especially at home. It makes them look bad, and they need to figure some offensive stuff out. I don't know if it's Tyler Wall, if it's Chucky Hepburn, but Greg Gard and the Badgers have their work cut out for them if they want to get into the tournament. But that's going to be it for hardware. Now we're going to shoot our shot. Logan, you got 24 seconds. What do you want to shoot your shot on?
Yeah, definitely. So I have to look at your Wildcats that you mentioned, Northwestern there. I mean, it's a team that is not known for its March Madness history. I believe they've only gone twice in program history, and now it looks like they are set or destined for a third unless things go bad in the Big Ten. But beat Wisconsin, beat my team at Illinois. They've had some marquee wins. Shout out to Northwestern Chicago. Get another team, not Loyola.
Well said. It pains me to say, good job, Northwestern. Always kind of exciting to see them do something in the Big Ten. They're a wild card. They're always in football and in basketball. They're a wild card. But my 24-second shot clock, I'm going to just shoot my shot and say congratulations to the NBA once again for making the trade deadline one of the most entertaining, 4 or 5 days. This was absolutely insane. The KD trade started a domino effect where everybody was just trying to play catch up. I absolutely love it. The trade deadline in every sport is something I look forward to, but the NBA in particular, just because the trades are so wild and they're so confusing, so much fun to watch. It never disappoints. It never does.
Yeah, we should have just done a 5 second-round picks for the trade. That should have been the 24. So many of those.
Apparently, that's the new norm for I want a first. Well, I can't give you a first. Okay, 5 second-rounders. Okay, sure, fine, that works. But that's gonna do it for the second episode of the From 3 podcast. As always, I'm your host Matt Morris with my co-host Logan Hansen. We'll see you next time. Make sure you like and subscribe for more of our great content.
Thanks for watching. Feel free to check out our other videos and don't forget to smack that subscribe button down below while you're at it. Also, for more great and original content, head right over to bvmsports.com.